Hello, this is Erica with the Purple Quilt Company. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Today we're going to explore a little more in the Block a Day book by Lucinda Ganderton, and we're going to create a Road to California block. So if you want to see how I made a block like this, please stay tuned. We are still exploring the Block a Day book, which is 365 Quilting Squares for Patchwork Inspiration by Lucinda Ganderton. This week's block is going to be the Road to California. So this block, if you've been following my channel, you know that I've been making these Jacob's ladders as a leader ender. This is a variation on the Jacob's ladder block. It might be that the Jacob's ladder is a variation of this block, but I'm not sure. Either way, they have the same elements. There's a little change in colorway that I can show you at the end of the video, but I'm excited about this for several reasons. This block uses 4 colors according to this pattern in the book. So there is the 4 patch squares are 2 colors. There's a color and a background. And then the half square triangles are 2 different fabrics. So I get to explore that today. So I'm excited. Another thing that is interesting to me is I went to my 2.5-inch square scraps, and these were all of the neutrals that I have, or these are all the neutrals that I have. And for this block, I need 10, and I want them to be the same today. But I don't have 10 of anything in here. I've gone through, I thought that this top one might have 10, but there are only 6. The rest of them, nothing has 10 of it, I don't think. Well, that might, but I'm not going to use that because it won't look like 10 because there are different colorways on all the fabrics. So the first thing that I'm going to do is get 10 squares for my background. And I went to my big scrap bin and I found a piece of fabric that I have not cut down. It's about this big. So let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so this is all it is. And I should be able to get some, I can get at least 10 2.5-inch squares. So we'll start there today. I'm going to take my shape cut ruler. Let me bring you sideways so you can see me do this. And I've done this before, but it's been a while, so it may be on a different video, but I do want to show you how I do this. I've folded this in half. The selvage has already been cut off, and I'm not sure which way it went, so I'm just going to get my 2.5-inch squares. And since I need a lot of 2.5-inch squares for my stash, I'm going to cut this all as much as I can into 2.5 inches. So I'm lining this up. This is my Shape Cut Plus ruler. And I like it because I can get a lot of cuts fairly easily. So I've cut at the 0 line. Now I'm going to cut at 2.5. I hope my hand is not in the way too much. And then at 5, I'll move you over one more time. This way, maybe, sorry, maybe this will be better. So I cut it at 2.5. Now we'll cut at 5. And I have this piece left over. This is going to go into my string stash. And this goes in the trash. And now I'm just going to turn these to the side. And I could have just turned the ruler, but I didn't think to do that yet. Oh, and I'm concerned that I'm not going to get my squares. Oh, yes, I will. Okay, good. So now I'm just lining up again at the 0 line because I think I can get 12 out of these 2. And that's going to be perfect. So I'm cutting at 2.5 and 5 and 7.5. Okay, and so now I have my squares. These bits on the side are going to go into my crumbs, and this bit goes in the trash. And I'm going to take my 10, so that this is folded in half. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 goes to my block. And then the last two, I'm just going to put them on top of that stack. Let me show you. Put them on top of the stack here. And you can see that I need more 2.5 inch squares, but I'm not taking the time to cut any right now, but I do need some more to make more blocks if I want to. But I'm good for right now. So I'm going to put all of this stuff away and we'll come back and get started on the block. I've chosen my 4 fabrics. I have my 2 fabrics for my 2.5 inch squares, and then my 2 fabrics for my half square triangles. These are 10 each for the 2.5 inch squares and 2 each for the half square triangles. Now I had kind of a choice on this one, and I'll show you there is no wrong answer. Okay, I could have picked this and done the blues here, like that darker blue, but I don't like the stars as much on this pattern. I like this one. Even though it's more green, I like this one better because it has less of an overall pattern. Everything else is kind of florally. These have bubbles, but they're background, so that doesn't bother me. But these stars were too much, in my opinion. Again, no wrong answer. It would look fine, I'm sure. I'm just preferring this block for right now. I haven't made one of these in a while, just straight. So we'll see how long it takes. We'll start with the 4 patches. So I'll sew a light to a dark 2.5 inch square, and then sew 2 of these patches together to get 4 patches. I should finish with 5 4 patches. So let's get started with that. I will speed up the camera so you can see my progress. So here we go. So it looks like I made a mistake. Not it looks like I made a mistake on one of these. When I was grabbing my blue squares, I actually grabbed 2 of them and sewed them to a white square. Now I am gonna just take my seam ripper, take it apart and fix it. But I thought that I didn't have enough white squares, but it turned out that I think I had too many blue squares because I counted and I still have um, my 10 sets of pairs. So I think that's what I did. I just cut too many, or I pulled out too many blue squares, and I guess they were kind of stuck together. So I'm going to take this out, restitch it, and then finish up my 4 patches. Because of this little mistake, I'm going to finish this off camera, but you can see here there are 2 blue squares. I will repair it, finish up these 4 patches, and then show you what they look like. My 5 4 patches are done here. I stitched them all together and pressed them. I nested the seams so that they went towards the dark fabrics, but then my final seam, I swirled it. So this seam is going toward the white and this seam is going toward the white, but they are all set. I'm going to set those to the side and work on my half square triangles. I have 1 lighter fabric and 1 darker fabric. I've already drawn a line on the diagonal on my lighter fabric, and I'm going to put these right sides together, stitch a 1/4 inch on each side, cut them apart, square them up to 4.5 inches. So let's get started with that. All 4 of my half square triangles are now complete. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Yep. And then we have our 4 patches here. So now I can lay my whole block out. I'm going to use the same sort of colorway as in the book here. But you can arrange these kind of any way you want to. So I'm going to start with a 4 patch here. And for this one, the 4 patch, the color is always at the top left. So as I lay my 4 patches out, I'm going to do it that way. And then we will insert the half square triangles. And these have the dark fabric pointing, I'm going to say pointing in this way, so that they form a little ladder this way. So here we go. Pretty cute. So now I'm just going to chain piece this whole block together, and we will see what it looks like all finished. I think I will stitch it on camera and then go back and we'll look at it once it's done. So let's get started sewing. Here is my completed Road to California block. It turned out really great. I love that I can use my 5-inch squares and my 2.5-inch squares to complete a block like this, and that I can just use scraps. So these blocks could be completely scrappy, where all of the individual fabrics could be different, but I like it this way, the way that they presented it in the book, with the squares being one pattern, and then, or one fabric, or 2 fabrics really, and then the half square triangles being completely different fabrics. It's really neat. Now I decided to pull one of my Jacob's Ladder blocks here. Let me make sure that you guys can see that first. Oh, it looks great on camera. Okay, so I'm going to pull this Jacob's Ladder block. I'm pulling it because it's a really high contrast block, so that you can see the difference. All right, so actually I have this one turned. This one technically is turned the wrong way, so I'm going to turn it the way that they showed it in the book. All right, so these are the 2 blocks. Now the Jacob's Ladder, the way they present it in the book, the color squares are up on the right, but here they're up on the left. That doesn't really matter. I like that my Jacob's Ladder block only uses 3 fabrics. And of course, that is my preference because I wanted the background to all be the same. But this one uses 4 fabrics, so you can kind of dig in to even more scraps if you choose to. So these blocks are both very versatile, pretty simple with just 4 patches and half square triangles. And the fact that I can use my own pre-cut 5-inch squares and 2.5-inch squares, it lends itself to blocks like this. Also, if you have charm packs or mini charms, you could easily work those into these blocks. So a lot of fun, super simple. Glad I tried out this Road to California block. Hopefully you'll give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!